Welcome to Diminishing Returns.
That was obvious.
Oh, well, sorry. So sorry. I want something less obvious. All right. Welcome to Diminishing Returns.
Diminishing Returns finds a way. Now, Calvin, what's your one going to be?
That's not just obvious, but it's also weak.
No, I know. We're going to... Calvin, you can do...
Go on!
Was that Timmy?
That was wrapped. That was wrapped.
What's the animated DNA thing? See, I was doing Wayne Knight on the computer, and it was basically the same noise. Mm. You know, when in that very 90s view of what computers are, like a little animated version of him pops up that he took the time to create as part of his.
Went to the effort of recording a little bit of voice for it as well,
and animating,
just to incriminate him further.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today? Jurassic Park?
Yes, today we are talking about Jurassic Park.
The fuck's that?
The film and franchise.
What is it?
It's a very famous film. It was released in 1993 about dinosaurs. And it had 2 sequels, and then a kind of reboot/sequel a few years ago. Called Jurassic World. And there's another one coming out very soon, and that's why we're talking about it. But Jurassic Park, it changed the nature of films forever. And it's going to be a big discussion. So, guys, where do we start? It's a big subject. You guys are too young to remember it.
Well, actually, I remember one of my earliest memories is being. I think my dad and stepmom took me to a house party, a gathering of their friends, and they put Jurassic Park on, and I think I must have been about 5 years old, 6 at the time. And they had to turn it off because by the time the T-Rex arrived, I was screaming so much that I was ruining everyone else's party. And I held a terrible fear of dinosaurs for many years, actually. Probably until I was about 9, 10 years old. And then I finally got over myself.
You're a very weak child.
So how did you two come to Jurassic Park? Because I sort of rediscovered it later on in childhood and became a firm favourite of mine.
I mean... I don't know, it's just one of the biggest films ever. So I don't know, it's just kind of there. I'm too young to remember how I even first...
I was about the right age for it. I was like 10 years old. I seem to remember going to see it with my family, which is incredibly unusual because my family never went to see things at the cinema. So it must have been a pretty big deal that everybody, it really did pervade the consciousness that even my parents went, oh, we should go and see that. It's going to be a big deal. And I also remember my grandma came with us and fell asleep. So it was pretty exciting.
Well, I suppose it is a bit of a landmark film, really. Obviously, in terms of special effects and everything. It's like in the behind-the-scenes stuff on the DVD, they go on about it's famous how they were going to do it, like stop motion animation dinosaurs, and then at some point during production someone was like, oh hey Spielberg, look at what we've done on this computer, and it's like, oh Christ, that's amazing.
What's a computer?
But could you imagine, if this film had been stop motion dinosaurs, how different that would have been?
But it would have been so shit. It would not have stood the test of time, would it?
No, it really. Well, it's a bit like when you see Terminator and they've got that awkward stop motion robot at the end chasing Linda Hamilton. It's weird.
I think so much of the dinosaurs are animatronic and puppet based that the film would probably be almost as fondly remembered, frankly. I mean, you'd probably have a couple of... Basically, there's a scene now where they do walk in herds and everyone's like, wow, this is really great. Every time you watch it, you go, wow, this holds up remarkably well. Why CGI so shit nowadays, guys, eh? And it's this whole thing. But it would just be one of those scenes like when you watch RoboCop or Terminator now, and there's a scene that's just kind of a joke in the middle of the film, but then you watch the rest of it, I think it would still be a fondly remembered classic.
So, I mean, the story of Jurassic Park, everyone freaking knows it actually, but it's, rich old man makes dinosaurs, invites a bunch of paleontologists over to his park to sort of give it their seal of approval.
And a mathematician.
Yes, and a mathematician. And a lawyer.
What's that about?
A mathematician.
Why does he invite him there? Oh, he does chaos theory. All right, that's relevant. Why are you here? And why is he back in the new? Oh.
Well, I can imagine why he's back in the new one. Like, you would probably be a bit of a celebrity around the world if you were one of the survivors of such an ordeal.
No, because the idea is he comes into so he can go, oh, well, probability is this is going to go tits up.
Or he comes in and goes, like, they go, how many dinosaurs are there in that field? And he goes, 100, because he's really good at maths.
So where should we begin with this one? I'm a big fan, just to plant my flag early on.
Yeah.
Just me?
Is there anybody who isn't?
Oh, really? Are you both? Do you both like it?
I mean,
everybody loves Jurassic Park. Come on,
it's a phenomenal piece of filmmaking. It's fantastic. I love Jurassic Park. Like, come on, everyone loves Jurassic Park.
The first one.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, that's good.
Shall we go straight into the things that we don't like about it then?
I mean, what I'll say, kind of on that note, is not what Alan said, but just that it's great. I really couldn't be arsed rewatching this film, and I put it off for ages, rewatching it for this podcast, because it just seemed like such a chore. Like, oh, I've got to watch Jurassic Park again. But then I started watching it, and within like a few minutes, I was like, oh, you know what? It's been a while since I've seen this, and this is actually really great, and I'm really into this, and I had a great time. So it's one of them.
It is. I was thinking that actually. I must have seen this film like 6 or 7 times, and I'm not the sort of person who watches films over and over again. I think the people who do are quite simple. So I think I don't watch films again and again that much, unless it's something like Ace Ventura, which I must have seen a lot of times. But yeah, the fact that I've seen this film so many times must be some sort of testament to its quality. Because it is one of those films you can come back to every couple of years and go, oh yeah, I'll watch that. It's classic.
I'm astonished that we're all on the same page on this then. That's, yeah. Alan, I thought you'd be grumbling about it and saying how it's ruined, summer cinema or something. And
no, this is everything.
Summer cinema.
This is everything the summer blockbuster's supposed to be. I think this was one of the first films I ever bought on VHS, in fact. One of the only Jim Carrey films I had on VHS.
Yeah.
You know what? I was been trying to think about people who don't like Jurassic Park, because I don't think I've ever encountered one. I've just remembered it's the long awaited return of Stories About My Cousin. He was there when I bought that Jurassic Park VHS, and he sort of went, oh, Jurassic Park. And I was like, you can't say Jurassic Park's not a good film. And he was like, oh, yeah, I can. And I was like, well, you're wrong. And then he bought a Nickelback album from the same shop. So I think that says it all, really, doesn't it? Sunny Side Up. I think that's what it's called. No, Silver Side Up from the Nickelbacks.
Something that I don't like about the film is elements of the production design. I get that Jurassic Park is supposed to be a theme park, and I don't know if the production designer had ever actually been to a theme park, because there's nothing about this that is like, where do the guests go? Like, what is there? Because it seems like there's literally just this one tour, which is you sit in a car and see dinosaurs behind a fence. Yeah, it's more of a safari park than a theme park.
And there's the museum-y bit at the end with all the bones hanging up. And
yeah, which is like one relatively small centre.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And when we get to Jurassic World, obviously that shows a proper I can see what all this is. But in Jurassic Park, maybe we just don't see it all. It's not ready to open.
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
Like, let's come on. It's not. It's still in the testing phase.
Yeah.
I think it's also a very boring attraction that Richard Hammond has. It's like you do just sort of get driven around, and if you're lucky, you'll get a glimpse of a dinosaur.
Oh God, you're just like the bloody Jurassic World people. Oh, where's the? I'm bored of dinosaurs. Give me a Frankenstein dinosaur that's even more Frankenstein, because It's an abomination
It's
against
just
nature
T-Rex
times
good.
2.
No, it's not that dinosaurs themselves are boring, but the way that attraction is like set up, because they're driving these cars through these pens and whatnot, and they've got these huge fences, and they've got like foliage, trees and bushes like right up immediately in front of the fence. So it's sort of like, unless the dinosaur is like 6 foot from that fence, you're not going to see it, and presumably there's a huge, area behind it for it to roam around in. I think it's a very poorly designed park.
Well, have you ever been to a zoo, Calvin? This is the problem with zoos. All the animals just sit in the shade. And, they don't come out and perform like they're supposed to.
I've made a load of notes. Shall I just rattle them off?
Yes.
Okay. First one, oh Christ, I completely forgot Wayne Knight was in it.
I love Wayne Knight!
Just forgot that there was, premier sitcom fodder from the 90s in this film. Then, let's see, there's Gold Bloomy Woomy. Incredible music. John Williams score.
Oh, yes.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think this might be John Williams' best work in his entire career in this film.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's up there, yeah.
And that's high, that's not something I'm saying lightly. That's very high praise. Obviously, there's the famous line, "Life finds a way," and I was looking forward to it. And I thought that had become like a parody of itself in time. If anything, people are toning it down. I couldn't believe it. He literally goes, "Life finds a way."
Well, yeah.
I do love Jeff Goldblum. Like this reminded me just how much I love him, because he's great.
You know that character was supposed to die originally, right?
No.
In the script. In the script, it was written as like a nebbishy, Woody Allen, nerdy type guy who's like really annoying because he's hitting on Laura Dern, and he was supposed to get killed, I think, by the T-Rex, like when the lawyer gets killed. And I think in the behind-the-scenes stuff, Jeff Goldblum talks about like going up to Steven Spielberg and being like, "Hey, actually, you know what? It might be more interesting if I don't die and I save the kids." And then you have like Sam Neill being interviewed immediately after, and he's like, "Yeah, that was supposed to be my moment to like save the kids and wave the flare and lead the T-Rex away." And then all of a sudden, on set, Jeff Goldblum is there like waving a flare around and surviving and getting his shirt off later on.
Can we put a pin in my notes actually and just talk about the cast for a bit? Because Sam Neill, this is really his most noticeable credit to date, and I really like Sam Neill, but I'm intrigued to know what you make of him, Calvin, because he's very much like, in an alternate reality, he probably played James Bond.
Well, he was screen tested. You can see the screen test online.
Really?
It's before when they were looking to replace Roger Moore. Yeah.
There you go.
And I think he would have been brilliant. He's sort of a Pierce Brosnan-esque style actor. I think he'd be really good. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I really like him. I've seen him in quite a few little smaller films and Australian films and stuff. He's always a cast highlight for me, and I think he's one of the best things in the Jurassic Park franchise, to be honest, although he is overshadowed by Jeff Goldblum.
I don't know. The thing is, I think this whole thing is just absolutely perfectly cast. I don't think you could...
Yeah.
You haven't put a foot wrong. And you've got... the beauty of Sam Neill is that he's not like a big action hero. He's not Bruce Willis or Harrison Ford. He is just like he looks like a paleontologist who then has to sort of like... And that's a beauty of this film as well, that there aren't any action heroes in it. There's nobody really does anything heroic in the Hollywood sense. They step up and have to do have to be quite brave in certain situations, but it's mostly just running away in different forms. And I think that is kind of crucial to why Jurassic Park is so appealing, because also you don't really have a bad guy. The dinosaurs are the antagonists, but they're animals. You can't.
I mean, Wayne Knight is certainly a villain catalyst for everything going wrong. But
but even he is sort of hosted by his own petard. You know what I mean? He gets his comeuppance by his own means. Nobody stops him, and that's what I really like about Jurassic Park. It doesn't seem to conform to what your standard kind of Hollywood blockbuster procedure and plotting, and that really appeals to me because you're not quite sure what's going to happen. You know, characters could die. Okay, the kids are probably not going to die. We know that. But it seems like anybody could die because it's not like, oh, well, this character, he's obviously going to have to die at the end to make up for doing this. This guy's going to be the heroic sacrifice guy, all that sort of thing, which, like in the second film, for example, you start to see more of that.
Yeah, because on that note, I think casting Richard Attenborough as John Hammond is a very interesting and quite defining choice, because you could so easily make that part like the Dr. Frankenstein, like he's created this thing, and obviously his creations must take him down at some point, but he lives until the end of the film and makes it into the sequel, and it's hard to, like, when he's going on about he had that little flea circus when he was much younger and everything, and he's really just wrapped up in his own creation, I guess, in a sort of a boyish like P.T. Barnum sort of way. He doesn't come across as a crass capitalist.
He's more of a Willy Wonka figure. He's more of the kind of lovable old eccentric, and you kind of rooting for his playing God, because you can appreciate the magic of what he's trying to do.
Yeah, but even that it is balanced. Because you do still get a sense from him that he, like, even when everything's going tits up, he's like, "Oh no, we know what we've done wrong now. We'll get it right next time." At first, and like, so you do get this sense that he's not learning, and then by the end, obviously, he's kind of like, "Oh yeah." But in the book, he dies. In the book, he's killed by the dinosaurs, and that feels like that's coming in the film. Like, you feel like he's going to die because he's the one responsible for everything, and then he doesn't. And maybe that's just because he's a cuddly old man.
I think so. I can't imagine what that would be like Richard Attenborough being... David Attenborough. No, Richard Attenborough being savaged by dinosaurs. I don't know if anyone would want to see that. I can't imagine
what it'd be like to see David Attenborough be savaged by dinosaurs as well, to be fair. Can we talk about Laura Dern?
Yes.
Now, I reckon Calvin's absolutely in love with her, and Alan's probably a fan to some degree. I don't get it. Can you explain to me why everyone... Because she seems to be a real, like, fan favourite, you know, darling of these films, these sorts of things. Everyone was raving about her in The Last Jedi. Even the people who didn't like The Last Jedi were like, well, Laura Dern's in it. Good old Laura Dern. Why?
Well, people like her because she's in Jurassic Park.
Oh, is that all it is? Okay.
I don't know about that. I liked her in Citizen Ruth.
And she did sort of she got lost to Hollywood by sort of falling into a Lynchian cult and just appearing in weird films for David Lynch for a while that don't make any sense. So that gives her a cult following.
Like, she's fine here, but nothing about what she did really grabbed me, or I don't know, I've just never quite...
But I think perhaps that is what's right about her for this character, that she's not jumping up and grabbing attention. She's just... she's very natural, and like the kind of the chemistry between her and Sam Neill is very very underplayed and nice, and then you've got little flirtatious bits with Jeff Goldblum, and she probably does the most heroic thing of anyone in the film, because when she goes and sort of has to go and set up all the electrics and stuff,
the door locks.
Yeah, it's like
Ellie got the door locks.
Most things that people are doing are really way. That's one of the rare examples where someone is like going into a potentially dangerous situation for the greater good. And she's not. It's not like she's Muldoon. She's not the gamekeeper guy that's kind of his job. She's just as a paleobotanist who's just like, she steps up to the point, and she's sort of just a strong, independent female in a time when such a thing was still quite rare.
I'd say standout performance is the raptor when it's trying to get in that door, and it sort of looks its eye in through the little door hole window, and then it goes and like sniffs, and yeah, that's some good dinosaur acting.
I like the one that comes out and snarls at Muldoon just before he says, "Clever girl."
Yeah, that as well, yeah.
Do you think, I was thinking that Muldoon, would it be better if he was South African?
Yes.
And he'd made his bones in Rhodesia hunting game, and now he was like a mercenary for 20 years, and now he's a gamekeeper.
Well, we get sort of characters like that in the next film. But I suppose we'll get there.
Yeah. My next note is you didn't say the magic word. T-Rex effects are outstanding.
What about
They're really good, aren't they? Like it's just that CG, like how that has still, holds up to this day when you look at other films from the 90s, like Deep Blue Sea, and how horribly dated that looks. And this still, I mean, you can tell it's from an older time, but it's
point in the 90s when every child was a computer hacker in every film.
Oh, that's fine. They need to give her something to do because she's been screaming
and then I've got the note, it's not as good once it turns into a monster movie. But then I've got the note, actually, it gets really good again from the kitchen scene onwards.
Oh, that kitchen scene is fantastic.
I think that there's a little lull when it sort of begins to feel like, it's getting a bit silly now, and this was. Well,
I did make a note that it starts to get a bit samey at the end because it is just like, oh, we'll run into here. Oh, some dinosaurs. Okay, now run into here. Oh, there's some dinosaurs. It does get a little bit samey, but then it kind of reaches a conclusion though. And there's always this sort of follow. I think it's what's his name, Grant and the kids. They're just running from one sort of scary area to another.
Yeah,
I like the whole because obviously if there is a character arc in this, it's Sam Neill that he doesn't want kids, and then through this experience of traveling with the kids, he becomes
still doesn't want
enamored
kids,
with
but
them.
I don't think he does. I think that would be like the hack thing would be completely like, oh my god, yes, Laura Dern, let's settle down. But he doesn't, and in fact we see by the third one that that never happened.
Ignoring that,
but also, but no, what I mean is it's a bit more subtle than that. He doesn't become enamored with the kids. He kind of goes, okay, well, children can be sort of real things too, and can be all right.
I think it's there. It's just not said. It's like when they're on the helicopter at the end and the kids are hugging him and he's looking at them, and then he looks at Laura Dern and smiles. It's all there in looks, which is.
But that's
what
I mean. I think it's played subtly though. Where that could be terrible.
It's just enough for this kind of film, just to have what they have here.
I've got one more note, which is Deus Rex Machina.
Oh, God. Well, again, that wasn't how the film was originally scripted and storyboarded. It was going to be that the raptors were just crushed by the skeleton, the bones. So there's going to be a fight sequence on that, and then they were going to fall and get crushed. But then I think when they saw all the special effects of the T-Rex in progress, they were like, well, that's obviously the big thing that people are going to remember from this film. So he needs to come in and save the day.
I think it cheapens the film somewhat, I'll be honest. It's just such a silly moment.
Yeah, but it's like, it's also silly when they blow the shark up in Jaws, but it's how the thing needs to end.
I don't think it's silly. If you let loose a load of dinosaurs, they're going to find their own hierarchy and predators and prey and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it just, they turn around and the T-Rex was there and it snuck in without any of them noticing. It's just...
okay. But...
yeah, it's silly, but,
But there's a lot of things going on, like things smashing and stuff. You wouldn't notice it. I have always found the ending a little bit anticlimactic. It kind of just suddenly goes, oh, look, the chopper's arrived, let's get in it. And it's a little bit kind of, everything just suddenly ends. And that's been in terms of the structure and stuff, that's my only complaint, really. It just it always feels a little bit anticlimactic. It just needs to build to something a little bit more, or there's more of a journey where we're going, okay, look, we need to get past this stage. We need to get past this building to get over there. Oh no, there's a dinosaur in it. Okay, well, we got to work our way through it. So we know, look, hey, we're heading for that helicopter pad over there.
Yeah.
Just give me that goal so that when they get there, it's kind of a sense of achievement.
I think that some of that comes from the T-Rex as well, because the fact that it is a Deus Ex Machina that saves them from those raptors, it in terms of writing, just feels a bit, unearned. It just feels a bit, like you say, unsatisfying. That's kind of the big moment when they manage to escape.
Plus, you got Hammond turns up with Ian Malcolm in the back of the Jeep. Did Hammond lift him up and put him in there? How did he get him in? I feel like I want to praise it a bit more. Can we talk about it some more? Let's find some other bits we like.
What else is there to say? Direction.
What about let's talk about the dinosaurs some more.
Okay.
Right. It is okay. The pinnacle of CGI at the time, but it's seamlessly matched with this model work, animatronics stuff.
Yeah, and really good animatronic work.
The two do mix pretty seamlessly. It's not like you see, even in the later films of this series, you see the CGI stuff just doesn't match when you go to a close up of a bit of plastic. What about another sort of important aspect here is that no one ever hurts a dinosaur. You know, no one ever harms the dinosaurs, humans anyway. That's obviously deliberate. The dinosaurs are not evil; they're just animals.
That's a good point.
And
actually,
we've talked about this before. I think we were talking. It might have been in like King Kong or something like that, where it's like, or all the shark films, maybe in Jaws, where if it's just an animal that's
Alien as well. You brought it up,
and then everyone goes, "Oh, we've got to kill it." It's very sort of gratuitous, and I don't think it plays these days in the same way it did in the 70s.
Well, I think that's one of the geniuses of Jurassic Park. It never feels like a monster movie in the sense of, Anaconda or Deep Blue Sea, anything like that. There is, and I think the score helps as well. I think there is such an element of wonder to it, and
I don't know. I think it does. I think about 2/3 into the film, it really does feel like it transitions into a monster movie, and it kind of comes out the other side of that. But I wouldn't say it never feels like one.
It never feels in Jurassic Park like there's a monster, and they go to great pains in the later ones to create a monster, like the big monster who can be the big bad.
Well, only because there's multiple monsters that are all formidable. They're like the kitchen scene, it's just because that would be a monster, except there's like 3 of them. So
yeah, but that makes a significant difference, I think, because you're not targeting a particular creature as the bad guy.
I don't know. Are monster movies like one monster things? I've not seen that many. I'm sure that there's like Anaconda sequels where there's like 3 anacondas. I don't know.
Maybe.
Tarantula. No, what was it? No, what's arachnophobia? Loads of spiders.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
8-legged freaks.
I suppose, if you want to define it in those terms, yes, there are creatures that are trying to kill people, but I don't really know how to articulate it. Maybe it's that it doesn't feel exploitative. I don't really know. There's a certain high-end class to the whole production. So that probably helps.
Yeah, it feels much more like a legitimate kind of Frankenstein parable rather than just like B-movie fodder. I think that's it. I think we can rate. It'd be 10 out of 10 from me. It's pretty darn great.
Okay, well, I give it a 9.
I give it a 9 as well. But that's a high score.
That might be Alien.
Alien levels.
As our top.
I think Alien was 2 10s and a 9. That might be our second highest rated, though, there, Jurassic Park. But then, the fall from grace.
Oh, God.
Now, for these sequels, these were the films I was really looking forward to rewatching, because I hadn't watched a single one of these sequels since they came out in the cinema. That's true for all of these films now. And obviously with this second one, when did it come out? Like 97,
was it?
It's like 4 years later, I think.
Yeah.
So Spielberg, he was doing post-production on Jurassic Park whilst filming Schindler's List, and he completely burned himself out, like physically, emotionally. So he didn't. The next film he directed was Jurassic Park 2. So he took a couple of years off. And apparently you can forget that quickly how to direct a film.
Well,
because
he was different. He's a changed filmmaker after Schindler's List. Like Jurassic Park is very much the end of Indiana Jones, E.T., Jaws, Spielberg, and the start of Amistad, Spielberg.
Socially aware Spielberg.
Yeah. And I think you can tell just by even the cinematography of The Lost World it's a much darker film.
Well, it the whole thing just felt like Spielberg was directing it over the phone. Like he couldn't be asked turning up to set, and it was just really, apart from the final 10 minutes. But I guess we'll get to them in a minute. Like, I remembered the film being not particularly good, but it was significantly worse than I remembered. It's really bad. It's really bad. And I just don't know what they thought they were doing. I don't know why. Like, Spielberg obviously didn't want to make it. I've read like quotes with him where he basically says, "Yeah, I had no interest in making the film after I signed on to do it, so I just had to get through it." I just don't know what they were playing at. Like, give it to Joe Johnston, give it to someone who's interested. It could have been good fun. But
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's just such a joyless experience. Like, I think of all the wonder and fun and majesty of the first film, it's all kind of gone here, and it's a bit of a depressing drudge of a film.
But it's just such a pointless rehash of the first film. It's just really boring, bland shit we've seen before, like lukewarm, like reheating it. Like, it's just, and then at the end there's like 10 minutes when the film completely comes alive, and that should have been the entire plot. And I don't know what they thought they were doing, just tacking that on, because the film pretty much ends and then starts again, and it's almost like a little epilogue at the end.
It does feel like a real afterthought, doesn't it?
Yeah. In the DVD extras, that's the only bit that Spielberg sort of gets excited talking about, having the T-Rex on, in a real human city. So I think that probably explains why that bit does feel like the film suddenly comes alive, and that should have been the whole film. They should have taken the dinosaurs to civilization.
But it's because you're doing something different.
I read that that's at the end because initially they were saving that as the plot for the third film, like dinosaurs come to the mainland. But then Spielberg kind of went, you know what, I'm probably not going to direct another one, so let's put it in this one. Because he just wanted to do it himself. And it's like, well, just make that the whole film then, Spielberg. You ruined it. Now, Spielberg, what are you doing? God's sake.
Jeff Goldblum's completely changed in this one, too. He's not as fun as he used to be.
Well, he's been through a life-changing event.
Yeah.
Well, true.
I did like his introduction where someone's screaming and then they like cut to him yawning. Nice little intro.
So Jeff Goldblum's character goes to see Richard Attenborough's character, and he says, "Look, there's another island, and there's dinosaurs there, and they've been living in peace and harmony without man, and so we decided to send some people there." And obviously, Ian Malcolm's like, "Well, I'm not going. That's ridiculous." And so Richard Attenborough goes, "Well, your girlfriend's already there, so she's probably being eaten right now." And so Ian Malcolm has to go. So Ian Malcolm goes with a couple of the guys, including Vince Vaughn, of course, to what he is calling a rescue trip to find Julianne Moore. Somehow his daughter gets on the thing. Like, that would be...
Because you couldn't possibly make one of these films without, like, a kid, basically.
Yeah. And how we said in the first film the kids were pretty good and not annoying? Feels... just not used. The kid's not used in this one at all. It's just something to make Ian Malcolm a bit more heightened every now and then, which doesn't really need.
I just don't understand the sort of executive mentality that there even has to be a kid there. I really don't think, if you made a Jurassic Park film without children in it, I really don't think you'd lose any like money, because kids wouldn't be like wanting to go see the dinosaur spectacle movie. Marvel movies aren't like full of children, and kids love going to see them. Like, they're there for the dinosaurs.
I mean, Spielberg, innit? He's got to put a kid in it. But if you're going to do it, then use it.
My note here says that this film is painfully sequel-y so far. like painfully old school sequel-y. Before we got better at making sequels, it's just like exposition bending over backwards to justify why they're going to go and do the exact same thing that just happened in the first film and haven't learned from it. And it doesn't work at all.
I don't know, the idea that they're spending this little group going just to study them and like watch them or whatever is all right. The conceit of the film is that Hammond has lost control of his company, and so he's kind of very subtly played villain, very discreet bad guy. Nephew, I think it is. He's taken over the company, and he's going to exploit it for everything it's worth. And what I do like, the only character I do like in the second film is Pete Postlethwaite's character.
Oh yes,
because he is the bad guy. Like, I'm just here to hunt, kind of thing. But the way he plays it is there's just enough there to make you go, it's just like he's not just going in there to kill animals. He's like, he becomes one with nature, and he's a hunter, like a kind of, do you know what I mean? Like he feels like he's part of that world, and so he's allowed to hunt in the same way that T-Rex would hunt something. He should be South African as well.
They cut out some of his motivation because towards when he leaves the film, someone of his mates has been eaten, and he's like, "Oh no, Dave's been eaten. I can't go on doing this anymore." And it's like, who? What's his name?
RJ.
RJ. Yes, RJ's died. No, that's it. And it's like, who's RJ? Like, never. But sure enough, there are deleted scenes of him and RJ like chatting and.
Like they are together when they're hunting and stuff, but yeah, you don't get this great bond between them.
Yeah, no, exactly. Again, I would have been probably more than happy to just have the entire film about Pete Postlethwaite. He's brilliant. And again, I think you can tell that Spielberg is in love with that actor, and he has all these like soliloquies and speechifying all the time. And
in terms of casting, I mean, I have to say, I think Julianne Moore's an improvement over Laura Dern. Personally, I love Julianne Moore.
You see, I think Julianne Moore's a great actor. I think she's just out of place here. She doesn't fit in this character, in this world.
I just like Julianne Moore.
Yeah, I like her very much.
I feel about Julianne Moore the way most people seem to feel about Laura Dern, where they're just happy that she showed up.
I don't know who you've been talking to about Laura Dern. Oh. Fairly anonymous.
I don't know, I thought everyone was really into her in The Last Jedi. I've read all these things that were
she's very good in it. Vince Vaughn. Should we talk about Vince Vaughn? Because this is when he thought he was a proper actor. Next year he was going to be in the Psycho remake.
Wait a minute. He was a proper actor. Do you know how he got this part? I read something about this.
Oh, I don't know.
When they made Swingers, they wanted to use the Jaws music for something, like just for some sort of parody scene. And so they had to get permission to use it. So Spielberg said, well, I want to see what you're using it in so I can, see if it's justified use. And so they showed him some of the film, and he went, "Look, guys, I'm not going to let you use it. Sorry. But this guy, Vince Vaughn, I like him. He's a good actor. I'm going to use him in something." And so he cast him in Jurassic Park 2.
Huh. Interesting.
What about, does that mean Spielberg had to, like, sit down and approve the opening of, like, Airplane and stuff like that?
I don't know. I guess whoever has the rights to it, whatever. Maybe
Spielberg certainly has the clout, I would imagine, to...
Talking about music, the score to this film is shite compared to the first. It's just not even a good score, full stop, to be honest. It's just it's that same theme over and over again, which I suppose is true of the first one, but it's just like a crap theme.
Well, I think for some of the big, like, bongos and all that, they were harkening back to Max Steiner, who scored King Kong.
Yeah.
And a lot of it does feel very King Kong-esque, but that's what I liked that they avoided in the previous film.
Exactly, and it feels really jarring to go to that place now, when all they're doing is returning to the island. It just doesn't...
It's a different
Well, they're not returning to the island.
A different island. The other island. They keep finding new islands.
Which is stupid.
In this franchise, and it annoys me.
Yeah. It makes no sense. So why does this other island exist? The eggs are hatched on...
You can't do everything on one island.
Well, why do they need to transfer them? Because we saw them being born on the other island in the last film, and then they're displayed there in the last film. So they're transported...
That's part of the ride, though, isn't it? That's what people get to see when they come on the little tour.
So this is just an island for the dinosaurs to roam around until their time comes to...
You got to have like a nursery island until they're fully grown, and you can sort of put them into a.
People want to see the baby dinosaurs, Alan.
That's why you have a little section.
It just seems like it isn't worth the effort to, like, presumably they shipped these T-Rexes over and then had to ship them back to be displayed. Like, that seems like... Well, in fact, this film shows that shipping a T-Rex is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So why would you go to that effort?
I don't know why there's this need to, like, just set it on the island from the first film. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
I really don't know why they felt the need to go to a different island. It's very strange.
Now, do you know, did Sam Neill, like, refuse to come back or something? Like...
They never asked him.
Why? Like, what's the deal with that? Like...
Well, I think Jeff Goldblum was the more fun character, and maybe Spielberg just felt that Sam Neill's arc was completed, and him and Laura Dern could go off and have kids and be happy.
I think Sam Neill in the place of Jeff Goldblum in this film would make a lot more sense. The way that the character's actually used, like, the stuff that they do...
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, Ian Malcolm as a character works as the sardonic guy on the side, where everyone's panicking and he's like, come on, guys, stop panicking. When he's the one running around being the panicky one, it's not as fun.
Can I just read my notes for this one?
Yeah.
Because, Calvin, you've kind of subverted my expectations here. My notes here are, this film sucks so far, I bet Calvin loves it.
What? Why?
Then, like, I bet Calvin thinks it's only one notch below the first.
What?
Then, I bet it traumatized him as a child, but apparently.
Oh well, it did do that. Yes.
I don't know. This just seems like you've got a thing for shit sequels to films that you like. You're very forgiving if it, like, you know, like Psycho 2. I don't know. I just thought this was going to be one of your, like, oh, it's good fun. It reminds me of the first one.
The bit where the T-Rex eats the dog. That's just not nice. Pre-Schindler's List, Spielberg would never have done that.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Hang on, when did he make Temple of Doom?
85? No, Temple of Doom was George Lucas.
They rip a man's heart out. Oh yeah, I guess that was Lucas to make it.
Yeah, but that was George Lucas going through his divorce.
My next note here is, I don't even understand how this is Spielberg's doing. The film is so boring. I'm 50 minutes in and fuck all's happened, and what has happened is just rehashing the first film. This is sub-Anaconda or something. I know the dinos get to the US, and even as a kid I thought, wow, this is happening late in the game, but fuck me, I'm an hour and 20 minutes into this film and they're still on the island. Feels like more CGI and less practical, this one. Did you guys get that? Like,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hold up.
I think it's a big part of why this one just feels very flat and, like, lacking magic that, you know, brings the first one alive, really. It's just...
Yeah.
Okay, this is the end of the film, and now we're getting an extra film on the end, like when you finish the Elite Four in Pokemon Gold and Silver and go to Kanto.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, exactly like that.
It does feel like this whole dinos in the USA is an afterthought. It's definitely... It feels like, this should be the film. What are we doing? Why?
Yeah.
This should have been 20 minutes in.
And it's like 2 hours into the film at this point. Like, you've had a feature run time. Like, you've basically had all the story and arcs and stuff play out. It just...
Yeah, the ending on the island is as conclusive as the ending of the original Jurassic Park. It's kind of like, oh, look, okay, now we've done all this. We can get away. Let's get off.
This film finally comes alive when the T-Rex runs amok in the city, but it's too little too late. It's the first time it's felt like Spielberg was having fun or even watching the rushes.
They really skim over this one bit where in that sequence they've been building like a Jurassic Park in, like, is it San Diego where they are, I think? And we just get this overhead shot. I think it's just a model of a car like driving through it. And it's such a shame because that's such like an interesting idea if they had have built the park in a city and what would that be? It's just such a shame. Like these last 10 minutes, you get kind of excited about what the film could have been.
And that's it. Like, that's it. The whole thing just feels like such a missed opportunity because had that been the entire concept of the film, I think it would have been really good fun. It would
have been enough of a different flavour from the first one.
Yeah, it would have been probably not nearly as good a film, like in a sort of proper film sense, but I think it would have been really good fun, and Spielberg certainly seems like he would have brought his usual energy to it, and because the last 10 minutes are good. Just in a kind of sequence, taken out of context kind of way. They're good fun. They're quite inventive. Like you said, there's a different flavour to it all. You need someone like Joe Dante to make something like that, though, with that sort of that ever so slightly macabre like sensibility. Like you say, the dog getting eaten. And my last note's what a bag of absolute shit. So, like, has there ever been a sequel to a film other than this where
there's been loads.
The subtitle is the title, and then the franchise title is the subtitle?
There must have been. Oh, the Hunger Games, aren't they sort of like Mockingjay, semicolon, The Hunger Games, Part 4 or something? I don't know. I'm sure it has existed. I'm sure one of the Friday the 13th... No, not the Friday the 13th. Yeah, no, Friday the 13th have done it, I'm pretty sure. It's like Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Oh, okay.
I think...
But even then, if it was The Lost World : Jurassic Park 2, it would make more sense. But it's such an odd name, this film.
The Lost World, it bugs me as a title just because it makes me think of the... was it H.G. Wells? Or...
The actual Lost World.
It's Conan Doyle.
Yeah, and the old 1925 film.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's harkening back to.
I know.
That's the whole point.
I just think if you're gonna do a Tarantino and just crib a title from another story, at least change the spelling in a stupid way or something like that. Like pop a few extra U's in there. I give it a 3 out of 10.
Same for me. Yeah, 3.
Well, that's a little harsh, I think.
I really don't think it is. It's a fucking dreadful film, and to be honest, I think I've been generous because the final 10 minutes are fun, even though they've got nothing to do with the film, and objectively shouldn't even be in the film. They should be on the cutting room floor, because they've got nothing to do with the film. So I think that's generous, if anything.
Well, I think it's a sort of fairly below average kind of film, but there's definitely good bits to it. I think acting's generally quite good.
I think it's got Vince Vaughn in it.
Anyway, I gave it 6.
Oh, God.
As a watchable but sort of below average blockbuster.
Now, remember this, listeners, when we get to Jurassic World. Just anticipating how that one's going to go.
But before that, we have Jurassic Park 3.
New director.
Joe Johnston.
Yeah. Once again, hadn't seen this since it came out in the cinema. But I had quite fond memories of going to see this in the cinema as an 11-year-old. I think it's perfect age to go and watch a load of bullshit about dinosaurs. So it was one I was most looking forward to revisiting, actually.
This one's such a curious one. I don't know how much you know about the production history, but they threw out the shooting script something like 5 weeks before they were due to start or something.
Wow.
Yeah, Joe Johnston just didn't like it.
Was there a different plot altogether then?
Well, it was still sort of similar, I suppose. It was something about there was all these rich families and their kids, and they were flying to a certain location, which just happened to be over the island, and all the kids were on one plane and all the grown-ups were on another, and the kids' plane crashed, and then the grown-ups had to go and find them. So we have a much more scaled-down version of that, except they put Alan Grant back in, which is...
yes.
Yeah, which is key.
Part of why I'm more on board with this one. I think it's great seeing him again.
Oh, yeah, very good.
He brings a lot to the proceedings.
Yeah.
And he is, of course, opposite William H. Macy, who's brilliant, and I love. And it's nice to see him in a big film, because, he's...
Is it a big film? If not to slight it...
It is by William H. Macy's standards.
I'm always taken aback by how scaled down this one feels.
Yeah.
It does feel like a sort of... Well, it's not quite like pilot for a TV show level, but...
It almost feels like it could have been a straight-to-video sequel to the franchise, except the special effects are slightly too expensive.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a bit harsh.
No. I mean,
no, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
Straight to video.
I think it feels scaled down in the sense of, okay, let's focus more on these characters and kind of get to make it different from the second one. And
it feels written to a smaller budget. That's kind of what I think we're getting at.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some pretty big stuff in there.
Oh yeah. I mean, certainly, and they've obviously got Sam Neill back, and they've got
Well, it's expensive, Sam Neill.
Well, you know, he's a level above straight to DVD, or at this point, I think he was.
Yeah, my first note here really is people give this one shit after what I just watched. Outrageous. Because you hear a lot of people really lay into Jurassic Park 3. I've had this discussion with people before, and people seem to really have a problem with it. And have you watched The Lost World? It's so shit.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely preferred this one to Lost World.
Yeah.
I felt like the structure of it was really solid. Everything, like the pacing and structure, was great. It really worked as a story and what we were following, and it all made sense. And you've got the small number of characters, but they're well rounded, distinct characters, decent acting mostly. My kind of major problem with it is there's not really enough jeopardy in it in terms of like none of these people are going to die. We know that. Like once you've taken out those, they bring like these three kind of heavies along. But then they kill them off too quickly, so there's not like it's not like well, one of those is going to die later on or something like that.
Yeah. As a kid, this film worked for me a lot more than it did now because the sort of there was more of a sense of hopelessness when like Sam Neill was tricked into being on the island that doesn't quite play as much now because you know looking at it through a child's eyes you're like oh he's been tricked and I didn't see it coming and but then also like you say that sense of jeopardy when I was 11 I kind of thought oh but anyone could die, it's dinosaurs, whereas now you're kind of watching it with a context hat on and you sort of think yeah like of course none of those characters are going to get killed so
Yeah, I think, Sol, you mentioned on our Shallows episode about how that film sort of represented for you sort of like the base of like what a film has to be like good. And I think Jurassic Park 3 is that for me. It's like, it's not fine, it's good. I enjoy it very much, but it's not, there's nothing terribly special in it. I can sit and watch it, and it's very easy, like, it's only like about 90 minutes long, I think. But,
it's about 82 minutes long. It was brilliant.
It's like it's a lot more fun than the previous film. It's also a lot cheesier than anything that come before it in the franchise. There's a lot of, I mean, I think it's probably Joe Johnston, but you know, like the 3 is like slashed onto the title, and there's all these like classified stamps appearing on screen early on, and there's far more practical effect work than CGI this time round, but all the puppets look really like wank and just not quite. Right.
I'll tell you what, the first film managed to turn velociraptors into this kind of huge, like, well-known thing. Like, a T-Rex was your big money dinosaur, and now suddenly velociraptors are like what everybody wants to be. And I don't quite know why that is. It's just they've created this myth of what a velociraptor is, and then so that's followed through throughout the entire series. And in Jurassic World, it's like that's like the main thing. And in Jurassic Park 3, they're like, you can't just have velociraptors, they have to be like super smart velociraptors, like Deep Blue Sea or something. And so they have to really go on about how smart they are and how they're learning and stuff like that. And my problem with that is that the puppet work is too anthropomorphized. It's kind of feels like a human person puppeteering a thing rather than it being animalistic. And it's something that Jurassic World we'll get onto really gets right. They feel like animals, even though they're smart and they're clever and the wicked stuff. It feels like they're animals. Whereas in Jurassic Park 3, it feels like puppets being controlled by humans. Because you literally see them like turning to each other and go like, "Hey, shall we go and kill these guys?" And like gives a little wink and goes, "Yeah, okay."
You're waiting for the subtitles to
kick
in.
I want them to communicate like animals, not like humans. Because they're super smart doesn't make them more human. That's the crucial thing, I think.
Yeah, that really annoyed me, and I sort of kept thinking like, did I miss a line of dialogue about like some chemical that got released on the island, that like an Alzheimer's drug they're testing with the dinosaurs, and it's all gone wrong. I think what's really interesting, and again, it's particularly interesting that Jurassic World went the route that it did, because this is basically the exact same thing. It's basically just how can we kind of remake Jurassic Park but pretend we're not. It is like a real rehash, but it's kind of done about as well as a complete and utter rehash could be. And it's just odd because Jurassic World really leans into that very consciously. Like, we're just going to kind of do the same thing again. But
well, Jurassic World brings back the central the main premise of the theme park attractions go nuts and try to kill you, which the second and third one don't really have. It is just people wandering around an island where, dinosaurs are roaming. So
yeah. And so my notes are very positive up until this point. I've written that it's a bit lame when that Deus Ex Machina kid comes to save the day, but I love that trope of someone who's like survived and gone feral on the island kind of thing. So
and that child grew up to be Robin Williams.
It's a good trope, that. More of that when we get to the Predator franchise.
Is this a good point to talk about? They tried to usher out the T-Rex in this one, and they give us the Spinosaur as the big...
Well, that's what I mean.
dinosaur.
It's just Jurassic World again. It's just some weird new dinosaur no one cares about.
The difference is that this was an actual dinosaur. Like, they obviously went through their, encyclopedias to find something bigger. And yeah, it's just not as cool, is it? It's not as good. They have it kill a T-Rex, and it's a shame.
My last note is it's a bit same old now. They're just drowning on a boat. I started getting bored near the end. I was a lot more on board with the film up until that point. There is, of course, a sequence I haven't made any notes about where they go into a kind of, oh god, what's it called? A room full of birds.
Aviary.
Yeah. Because, we haven't had any flying dinosaurs in the series yet, weirdly.
I think there was one shot at the end of Lost World where they had one come in and do a roar. But that was it. Okay. Yeah.
They're quite cool, though. They look pretty scary.
I think this sequence was supposed to be in either the first one or the second one, but there was something that the effects weren't as good as they had to be or something, so they postponed.
Right.
But it's a good sequence. Now, you talked about how the other two films just sort of ended. This one really does just end. Like, they get to a beach and there's a man there. It's like, right, well, here we are, off we go.
It's very kind of Chekhov's gun as well, that like, let's just quickly establish Laura Dern has ties to the military now so that we can justify the army showing up at the end of the film. Okay.
How did you two feel about Sam Neill and Laura Dern not being together anymore? Because I hate it. It really bothers me that she's now with someone else and has a family.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
No, I hated it.
I love it. I like, because it feels much more real to me.
That's it. It's a lot more real, and it means we don't have Laura Dern tagging along the whole film, because just bringing
He doesn't
down.
want kids. He doesn't want a family.
His whole arc in the first film was about coming to, maybe possibly want to have kids someday, and
yeah, and then he got back into the real world and was like, oh no, hang on.
No, you know what? What I would have done, what I would have preferred, would be if that kid that Laura Dern has was Sam Neill's kid, but she's with someone else now.
Ooh.
So, like, they had a kid together, it didn't work out.
Oh, that would have been good.
Well, I just implied that on it. Like, I inferred that from it. In fact, I assumed that he was there, like, while the husband was at work. And they were just, every now and then, they just hook up. And then the husband would come home and go, oh, hello, Alan. Oh, nice to see you again. He's like, oh, yeah, I just popped in 5 minutes ago.
he goes, oh, yeah, I've just been showing Ellie my special bone, and winks at her. I don't really have anything else to say. I quite enjoy this one, but it kind of just begins to lose the energy towards the end, and I get a bit bored of it. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's fine. It's good, but probably nothing more than that.
I find it a little bit more like the whole thing with William H. Macy and Taya Leone, like kind of falling in love again and all that sort of bullshit. I would have preferred if they were just like a bickering couple the whole way through.
I know.
Each other. I think it would have been a lot
funnier.
And then the kid like reunites them, and then they're immediately sort of like start arguing over whose fault it was that he was on this island.
Ratings?
It's a 6.
Yeah, I give it a 6.
I give it a 7.
That's fair, I think. Right, so it took them a long time, 14 years, but we eventually got another film, Jurassic World.
Yeah. Can we talk about, or shall we talk about the development, the many hundreds of versions of this film we were going to get before?
Yeah, why not? Let's have some highlights. I know that there was one where they were going to create weird soldier dinosaur hybrid creatures.
Well, basically it seemed like they realised that we're just rehashing the same stuff. We've got to come up with something original. and they just kind of went off the rails, and there are all these just absolutely absurd sounding films that were going to be made that were perhaps like logical next steps in one form or another, but completely lost the heart of what the franchise is. So they would have made it and people would have been furious, like, well, what the hell was the point in that? And yeah, the most infamous one's the one that you just mentioned, with the human dinosaur hybrid mutants being created.
God. See, I think that's really what you need. That's what it needs. That'd be great.
Well, this is it. I remember when I heard this was this was happening, because at one point they were moving ahead with that script with weaponized dinosaurs that the military were using with guns strapped to their heads and human dinosaur hybrids and this and that. And it just sounded absolutely batshit mental, and I couldn't wait. I was like, oh my god, this just sounds like they're doing Snakes on a Plane, but the Jurassic Park version. Like, why not at this point just make it a big joke of it's about like Jaws 3 People Zero or whatever it was going to be. Just lean into it and be silly. But Spielberg put his foot down at some point. Was like, no, it's got to be a proper film.
Bloody
and then at one point they were going to do a film that was going to be kind of like Outbreak, about some latent virus, the ancient virus finding life again in the dinosaur hosts, even though they're not actually from the past. They've been genetically engineered, so that I don't know, it might have been a bit weird, but I'm sure they could write their way around that. And so it was going to be a kind of plague movie, Contagion kind of film, with humans worrying about this new virus. And I'm sure they would have worked the dinosaurs in more heavily than it sounds. Maybe they have to go to the island to get the cure or something like that. But there were all sorts of weird things like that being thrown around before they landed on, I know, let's just remake the first film, but pretend it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jurassic World is just, look, it's been long enough since we did Jurassic Park. We can just do it again. It'll be fine.
Well, no, I think they go one better, actually. Like, I mentioned this in Jurassic Park, but they actually make it a proper working theme park this time. It's like, I think I was probably helped in my initial viewing, because when I first saw Jurassic World, I'd literally the week before just come back from Disney World, from a family trip there. And just seeing all of the similarities, you could tell that they'd probably gone to actual theme parks and done research and thought logically, okay, if this is a working theme park with dinosaurs, how is this gonna... there's rides and gift shops and sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. It makes sense.
Well, I'm going to jump straight into my thesis for this film, which is that I'm convinced this film is a comedy and is meant as a comedy, and it's kind of gone by as a serious film somehow. Because
okay, go on then.
Well, this is the first point, is that so much of the theme park stuff feels very satirical. You've got the massive, what they call Liopleurodon, whatever the sort of underwater thing is, doing tricks as if it was a seal jumping out of the water.
Oh, the mosasaur. Mosasaur, is it?
Yeah. And there's a splash zone and people just clapping and going, and that feels really tongue-in-cheek.
Why is that satire and not just an accurate reflection of what happens in theme parks?
Yeah.
And SeaWorld and stuff like that.
SeaWorld. That is exactly what they do.
Because they've taken... The first film wasn't that much like a theme park, and they've kind of been like, well, no, what if it was a bit more actually what a theme park was like, and it was this crass commercial thing? And that's a sight gag when you see that happen. That is meant to be kind of humorous, isn't it? That thing, huge...
No, I think it's meant to be it's like when I went to see the killer whales and they had a splash zone.
Yeah.
It's just meant to be, okay, I get it.
But
It's a theme park,
gag,
but it's a bit bigger.
It's a gag that it's eating a great white shark, I think. That's sort of a nice Spielberg
an
reference.
element of...
It's imitating life. But it's making everything bigger, and it's saying that...
That's what satire is.
Well, no, you've got to at least subvert it in some way.
Well, they are. There's dinosaurs doing it.
I think
that's the whole point, is that these dinosaurs have been normalised. People just go and see them it's a zoo.
Exactly.
That's not satire. That's the whole setup of the thing.
It's a comment on how quick we are to move on and get bored with things, and it's a dig at that, if anything.
They do.
You get a sense. Look, they've had to. This initially, the first film was just look at dinosaurs, and people were fascinated by that, and that's not enough now. And I think again, that's a very
There's definitely lots of elements in here that is kind of knowingly nodding, like basically saying, look, we have to create new dinosaurs because these ones don't excite people as much. In the same way that they're saying, look, in this film, we can't just have a T-Rex again because you're not going to be happy with that because you've seen Jurassic Park. So exactly. In that sense, it's kind of a I'm not sure if I would use the word satire, but there's very much a self-knowing nod to things.
Yeah, it's a very meta streak through the film with that sort of stuff and all the kind of knowing references to the first film. There's a scene where the guy's wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt from the original theme park he got on eBay, and then his boss chews him out for it, and there's loads of that stuff.
Yeah,
that just feels like a self-referential rather than, and it's not holding it up to ridicule. It's just it's not satirizing it. It's just kind of commenting on it.
No, I know that's a different feather in its cap to the satirical vein.
Well, I don't think it's satirical.
The satirical vein, and then there's a meta vein. So that's two veins on the comedy dick of this film.
But it's not funny though. The sense of humor is just weak.
I think it's funny.
So the cast in this film, do you guys want to guess who my favourite cast member in the entire Jurassic Park franchise is? Actually no, Jeff Goldblum. Other than Jeff Goldblum.
Is it Vincent D'Onofrio?
No.
Ifran Khan?
Is the guy who's looking after the sick Triceratops in the first one?
Oh no, I know who it is. It's going to be the guy who's running the gyrosphere ride, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Judy Greer. She plays the mum.
Oh, God.
Right.
I love Judy Greer. Can we get her on the island for the next film? That's what I want.
I don't think the kids are in the next
Get
film.
more of her in it. No, but get Judy Greer on.
I don't think she's in it.
She's Bryce Dallas's sister.
Yeah, but she's not in it.
Easy to write her into it.
Yeah, but she's not. They haven't.
Yeah, well, they should.
You're going to love the Halloween remake when that comes around. Well, not remake.
Judy Greer in.
Yeah, she's playing Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter.
Oh, cool. Brilliant.
I
love Judy Greer.
Anyway, so now that we've talked about Judy Greer, should we talk about Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, the new leads?
All right, so again, comedy casting throughout the film. Judy Greer, known for her comedy work on the likes of Arrested Development, Archer. Sitcom star Chris Pratt, best known for Parks and Recreation, prior to Guardians.
Sorry, just on that. I mean, Judy Greer has no comedy bits. Like, she has no excuse to be they could have cast pretty much anyone in that part who looked sort of vaguely similar to Bryce Dallas Howard.
Well, it's telling, isn't it? It's comedy actors everywhere. The dad does comedy as well, actually.
The fact that
Chris
Pratt is in this and
comedy star
is really not allowed to be Chris Pratt in comedy, and I suspect in this sequel we're going to get a lot more Star-Lord Chris Pratt because that is now popular.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot more little ad-libbing gags and little bits of throwaway lines that he does. Well, in the trailer there's at least two, and that's more than in Jurassic World. But in this, he's playing it straight. He's playing it totally straight.
No, I agree. It was weird.
And it doesn't quite work because you don't feel like Chris Pratt letting go. You feel like Chris Pratt playing a character that it doesn't particularly fit him.
Am I right in thinking that he was cast off the back of being cast in Guardians of the Galaxy, but it hadn't come out yet? So
it was
they
something
hadn't
like
quite
that, yeah.
Twigged to him being that charming, quirky...
I think so,
okay.
Yeah.
And it really needs... What this film really needs is for that character to be let go. Let him have the charming nature that Chris Pratt brings to it. It feels like he's too manacled.
I agree.
Right,
and you get these little moments of it, but you don't... it's not full Chris Pratt.
I think he's fine. I wouldn't have really wanted full Chris Pratt, to be honest.
Well, you're going to get it in the sequel. So
yeah, I'm sure I am.
I think you kind of want to split the difference between what we got here and full Chris Pratt. Just to... I don't know, I think the character could really have done with being a bit more... He's a bit too B-movie po-faced, and it just comes across as shit in certain scenes. That's basically it. I think if there was more levity to what he was doing, if he was doing it like if Jeff Goldblum was in that role, it'd be spot on. That's that little wink and twinkle in his eye.
So Bryce Dallas Howard,
yes,
she plays a cow. She's a frosty old cow.
Yeah.
Nobody likes.
Yeah.
And by the end of the film, she learns that love conquers everything.
I guess she's the one with the character arc in this, and she, there's the obvious visual metaphors of her, like, she wears this white suit and high heels, and slowly that suit is shed and adapted to the physical stuff that she's having to do. And I think, her character turning point is, I suppose, when she sees the dying brachiosaur or whatever it is with the long neck, and that's sort of an emotional moment for her.
She just needs to learn to loosen up, settle down, and have some kids. Like a good woman should.
Well, I think she.
Stop thinking about your job, love.
I think she needs to learn that she talks about the dinosaurs as, assets and creations, and not necessarily as like living, breathing creatures. And through the course of the film, she of course comes to understand that.
It got a lot of accusations of sexism on the part of her character.
Really?
So as three men, should we talk about that?
No.
I think the idea was that she's such an uptight, bitch career woman. I don't think that's quite fair, because that is her arc, that she's like Bill Murray and Scrooged, right? He's got to stop being a dick and become a nice guy. That's the standard arc of films like this. But then there is that undercurrent of what Alan was just talking about, which is the kind of, but she's got to kind of learn to settle down and be a mum and have kids. But I don't know. I think the film kind of goes out of its way to give us a strong female protagonist in the form of her. So
Is she? Why is she a strong protagonist?
I think she's the one with an arc. She's Chris Pratt.
She's very capable of getting stuck in and doing shit, She doesn't just sit around, do it. Like, she saves the day. She goes to get the T-Rex with the flare. She snaps her heels off so she can run.
Does she? I thought she was running in heels.
Yeah, she's running in heels.
Doesn't she take them off and snap the
no,
the
that's
heels
a different
off?
Film. That does happen in a film. I can't remember what, but someone does that.
Is that not this film?
But yeah, no, she's running in heels. There's literally a close-up of the heels running when she's running away from the T-Rex.
Isn't there a scene where Chris Pratt's like, look, your shoes are completely inappropriate?
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and she goes, shut up.
Yeah, she goes, for fuck's sake, and then, no. She like, modifies her jacket. She like rolls up the sleeves and ties it and whatever.
So she looks like Laura Dern.
Oh, yeah. Never thought about that. B.D. Wong returns from the first film. We haven't really talked about him.
I didn't even realise he was in the first film when I watched this in the cinema. I just thought it was some guy. But then I watched all of them and I was like, oh, it's that guy from the film. Okay.
I think that's quite cool.
Nice little
Because
thing.
he's not like a huge star, I don't think. I don't know if many people would even know. You could have just cast anyone in that part. But that they made that connection is quite nice, I thought. And he's obviously going to be in the sequel. And
It's alright. It's a nice touch.
Who else we got? Lauren Lapkus, another comedy star, just chucked in for some jokes. Lauren Lapkus.
Who?
Comedian Lauren Lapkus.
Who?
She's the one in that scene when the guy's like trying to kiss her and she's like, I've got a boyfriend.
Oh, I like her. She's in Orange is the New Black.
Well, those two characters are definitely we're going to be the comedy characters.
Yeah.
And it's all quite weak, and the guy, what's his name? Well, he's obviously there as the comic relief. It's all so painfully self-referential, and it feels too on the nose. It feels like it's trying too hard.
I don't mind it. I don't love it.
I don't mind it. Yeah,
I'm not going to give it like the comedy award for great humour, but
I'm not giving it an award for great humour. I'm just noting that another comedy actor in the film.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about Vincent D'Onofrio?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because his character is sort of positioned as antagonist.
Yeah, comedy star Vincent D'Onofrio from Men in Black.
He's the guy who
comedy villain.
He's the guy who thinks that the theme park is all a terrible idea, and he wants to use the raptors for military purposes. He's very interested in training them for that.
I was flabbergasted when I got into this film, and I was like, "Oh, that made it in from that earlier draft, did it? The military weaponizing dinosaurs."
How would a velociraptor be any use in her battle situation? That's what I want to know.
Well, they can't be hacked like drones. They can go in caves.
They can be shot, though. They can be shot quite quickly and efficiently.
Well, they trained dolphins to do
Fight terrorists
shit with submarines back in. Was that during World War II? Like there's a precedent for training animals to help.
Yeah, but he's not
wars.
saying we're going to, I don't know, use them as spies, like teach them how to do a German accent. They're just going to like have them run at people. I don't know, like
That's better than having a human run at people, isn't it?
Well, they don't do that either because it's a terrible idea because they just get shot immediately. I also feel like velociraptors are probably quite expensive to make. And you could probably get about 1 million men for that. My major problem with this is that, you know, they decide to set the velociraptors out to try and catch this thing, which doesn't make any sense because it's like 20 times the size of them anyway. But that's seen as like a terrible idea, like, well, you're just letting out more dinosaurs, ridiculous. But the end result of this, the big heroic thing they do, is set the Tyrannosaurus Rex free in order to fight it.
It's
true, exactly the same thing, except more sensible because at least it has a chance.
That's true, actually. I never considered that.
And that's the hero move. That T-Rex is still knocking about.
Yeah.
It's just look, the end. The T-Rex fights this thing, kills it, and then instead of just going, oh, look, some people there, I'll eat them as well, goes, oh, I'm a bit knackered now, I'm going to have a little sit down.
Have we seen anything to suggest that T-Rex isn't a very aware good guy? Because it only ate the one person in the first film, didn't it? And he was a bad guy. He was a twat.
Oh, so the T-Rex was like, oh god, I hate lawyers. Don't you just hate lawyers, guys? Even though they're just doing their job.
And then it saved them at the end. It came to save the day at the end. It like saved the humans. So I think it was a misunderstood.
Is it even the same T-Rex?
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be, isn't it?
Well, there were 2 different ones in The Lost World.
I'm almost certain they're on record saying that the T-Rex in Jurassic World is the same one from the.
Oh,
okay. It's meant to be this kind of character cameo return almost. I think there's like a scratch on it from the first film or something.
Well, I guess she does still like the flares, so yeah.
And just going back to the cast again. Can we mention that Zara?
Oh, for God. Why are you talking about everyone except the actual stars? Which one's Zara?
Well, we've covered the stars. Oh, not the kids. Zara is, I don't know, she's like a really fucking weird, jarring presence in the film. That's why I want to talk about her. I don't like her being in the film. I don't like her casting. She's the incredibly over-the-top British accented assistant to Bryce Dallas Howard.
She has the best death in the film.
Well, even that death's really odd and incongruous.
It is, yeah. It's completely out of...
It's like, it's unusually malicious, and she hasn't really done anything to deserve it, and it feels kind of weird in this franchise that that's there.
It is such a mean thing, because she gets picked up by one of the pterodactyls that have escaped, and then they're, like, fighting over her. It's so lingering. She falls in the water, and then they're still like going. She
suffers,
and then
she really suffers.
Giant mosasaur comes and I guess eats her in one, which implies an even more sort of slow and painful death.
And she's being like drowned as well. Let's not forget throughout all this. Like, it's a really oddly just out of place, weird death. It's a kind of death you'd reserve for like the worst of the worst villain character, and.
It's not even just the mean, it's just the graphic nature of it and the screaming and all this. It is totally out of context.
That is my favourite scene in the whole film, though, when the pterodactyls attack the park. Like, that's what I was wanting from like a proper theme park where the attractions go crazy and start attacking people. That's brilliant.
But I feel like that doesn't quite go far enough as well, because if you're going to do the bit where, hey, we've got 20,000 people in a theme park and they get attacked by dinosaurs, then let's do that. Let's see it. Let's see what happens.
That's it. You get like 3-minute sequence of that, and then it's kind of dealt with, and that should have been a big part of the film, dealing with the hordes of survivors, and you know, it should have been that chaos. But I mean, I like that sequence. Like you say, it's kind of what everyone was waiting for. I mean, it should have been like the book I loved as a kid called When Dinosaurs Come to Town, and it's a picture book, and it's like, you know, just people like guy opening his bathroom, and in the bathtub there's like some little water dinosaurs that have come out, and then he looks out the window and there's a long neck looking in, and he's like, oh, there's dinosaurs everywhere. Opening the cupboards, there's dinosaurs eating the food. And that's what the film should have been like. All the people like trying to be like, run over here. Oh god, there's a dinosaur coming out the drain.
That would have been a good comedy moment if they go to hide in a cupboard and there's a pterodactyl in it.
Exactly. I can picture it now. Is this film set in the future? Because they've got some like really elaborate sci-fi technology. Is that just because like
what beyond bringing dinosaurs to life?
Yeah, but that was done in quite a grounded way, and that was the only like the one thing that they'd that was the one element of fantastical in the first film. Whereas in this one, they've just got like crazy glass balls that we can drive around and like weird 3D like shit, and I don't know, it's kind of odd.
No.
All right, here's part of my thesis that this is a satirical comedy, right?
Yeah, go on.
So near the start, we've got the theme from Jurassic Park back again, the same exact theme tune, and it's coming in. Everyone's like, "Oh God, I love this music. I remember this." And like as it crescendos, it's just as the kid throws the doors open, but this time, instead of marveling at the dinosaurs, we're literally just marveling at shots of the theme park itself. Like it's a comment on like consumerism and stuff, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's not about the dinosaurs walking in herds. It's like
no, it's going. Look how amazing and wonderful this theme park is. Look how great our effects are.
Yeah.
In the first film, it was like they do walk in herds. Look at all these dinosaurs. It's amazing. And in this one, it's like, look, you can get a burger and a massive fizzy drink, and
they have a Starbucks.
Yeah, I think that's a very conscious like thing.
I think it's a very conscious decision to go, oh, the theme park would have a McDonald's and a Starbucks or whatever.
Yeah, Pepsi sauce.
I don't think it's going do 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 Starbucks do 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 do. It's not doing that. It's going, oh my god, look at this amazing vista we've created in a computer where it's like a big theme park. It's amazing, isn't it? We're supposed to be genuinely wondering at how good it is and how amazing it looks. In the same way you were supposed to look at a dinosaur that way.
Isn't that a comment in itself?
Yeah,
no. No, it's not. It's not. Well, if it might be, we might be able to look at that and go, "Oh, that's what filmmakers revel in these days." But it's not a deliberate choice by the filmmakers to go, "This we're satirizing ourselves."
I don't know.
I think it is.
No, I don't think it is.
The director's one previous film was a comedy. Let's not forget. Safety Not Guaranteed, a comedy that plays with audience expectation.
You know that Colin Trevorrow apparently kind of got this gig like. He kind of lucked out, really. Because, like, Brad Bird was supposed to direct it, according to the Wikipedia page anyway, but he was too busy on Tomorrowland. So what happened was that Brad Bird suggested that Kathleen Kennedy employ Colin Trevorrow to work as sort of like, a stand-in director for the pre-production stuff. And then, obviously Brad Bird didn't go and do it, and then I think Trevorrow was only supposed to do like for second unit work or something, and he was like a temporary first unit director, but then he ended up doing the whole thing.
I think he did a decent job.
Yeah, I think he did very good. Pacing wise, I think the film kind of grinds to a halt after the pterodactyls have escaped and run loose. Because there's this weird bit, like just before they decide to set the raptors on the Indominus Rex, where it just kind of plateaus for a bit, and it's like, where is this going? And then it just sort of fumbles around for the last half an hour.
I think structurally the thing works. You know what I mean? It rolls on. But my problem with it is that there's no personality to it. The characters are quite weak. They're not very engaging.
I disagree.
Especially when you've got someone like Chris Pratt. It needs to be more. There's plot points just dropped in out of nowhere and then lost again. Like, parents are getting divorced. I'm upset about that. Okay, we'll not mention that again. It's like... how different? How is that different to I've got the test results back, I've definitely got breast cancer?
I think the difference is, and I'm not saying this in a defense, I'm saying it just to try and explain why I think that's happened. What that is most likely is that this was conceived as part one of a trilogy, and they keep going on and on about how they're conceiving of all the characters' arcs across 3 films, and they're gonna...
The kids aren't in the next one.
Are they not?
No.
Oh, never mind then.
No, I like it because I think the stuff with the kids' divorced parents is fine because these two lads, they don't get along very well. One of them's a bit older and is just creepily eyeing up girls throughout the park. The other one's, I think, kind of autistic or something like that. That wasn't funny. That was just, I think he is.
I didn't get that from it at all.
Why is he supposed to be autistic?
Yeah, where have you got that from?
Because he's always spouting off facts and stuff, and he's even at the end when
kids like dinosaurs.
Well, yeah, but even at the end, he's counting the teeth on the Indominus Rex. He's like, "Teeth, we need more teeth." And I gathered that he was very smart. He knows all the dinosaurs' names and everything. But no,
I don't think they're making autistic. It's just crap writing.
Anyway,
just make let's have a prodigious kid like every other kid in Hollywood.
He's a very emotional child for a start, which would go against typical portrayals of autism.
Anyway, I think the divorced parents thing works to sort of bring those two closer together and kind of... It's what inspires the elder one to go off-road with the younger one because he wants to cheer him up.
Yeah, that's true.
There is cause and effect.
Yeah, it definitely does factor into their dynamic as siblings. You know what I really like is Chris Pratt as a dinosaur trainer, just in concept. And it's such a great element to chuck into the film. He's training all the dinosaurs. Yeah. It's an extension of everything we've kind of seen in the previous films to a point. It makes perfect sense within this world. It's also a really Is there a name for that almost self-parody B-movie kind of stuff you get to in films? Army of Darkness does it full on, where something's so overtly quote unquote cool that it just becomes so ridiculous that it's just funny.
Like Samuel L. Jackson's career.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that really is what when we get to the realm of Chris Pratt riding fucking motorbikes with raptors running alongside him. There's no way.
Well, I think they're playing it completely straight. They are.
I don't think they are.
It's a big summer blockbuster. That's what they do.
I don't know. I'm with Sol on this one. I think you can you can infer tongue in cheek. It's not calling itself out on how ridiculous it is, but there's a bit when Chris Pratt's sort of looking around and he has a moment where they close up on him and he smirks. And I think that's a little nudge. Yeah. Because even he's sort of this is kind of ridiculous, but quite cool as well.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got him as the alpha raptor, and he's on a motorbike driving through a forest with his velociraptor buddies running on his side. There's no satire to it. They genuinely did that. And there's no payoff here where that is a joke.
That's not satire, but I think it's in the realm of self-parody. It's exactly the sort of thing you would get Ash doing in Evil Dead 4 if it had dinosaurs in it. I
don't think it is. I think it's completely legitimately, this is what we're doing in a summer blockbuster now, because we're doing a film about dinosaurs. Put it this way, an average audience member watching this film, would they look at that and think it's a joke, or would they look at that and go, "Oh yeah, he's riding a motorbike and he's dinosaurs, cool"?
Well, yeah, but what an average audience member would think. I mean, people perceive things differently, but I don't think that.
I think they made it knowingly, this will play on two levels.
Yeah.
I completely disagree. I think you're giving them far too much credit. And I haven't seen anything in this film that justifies your argument.
Okay, well, can we talk about the Indominus Rex then? Because I think that's the most obvious element of satire and self-referentialness in there. So obviously they have the park attendance is going down. People are bored of dinosaurs, so they decide they are going to create their own dinosaur, which is a bit of all these different things, but mostly part raptor, part T-Rex. That's quite clearly a self-referential, people are bored of dinosaur films. What are we gonna do? They've seen it all now. What can we do? Okay, we need to build this new thing.
They practically have a conversation at one point when they're obviously, Tyrannosaurus Rex 1 was the best, but I've got a soft spot for Tyrannosaurus Rex 3. The less said about Tyrannosaurus Rex 2, the better. We'll just forget that one. I can't believe that was the same guy who made the second Tyrannosaurus Rex who made the first one, actually. I just can't believe that. You wouldn't have thought it, but I'm really excited about Tyrannosaurus Rex 4, Abdominus Rex, or whatever. It's so, on the... they know what they're doing.
I agree that it's ridiculous. I just think they're being serious with it.
Playing it seriously is, that can be the joke in of itself as well. It's like Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig made that Lifetime movie, and they just played the whole thing completely straight, and that was the joke. It was just a really melodramatic shit film that they were in for no reason, but that's like kind of really funny. And I think there's, that's a form of comedy, and I think this film knows what it's doing. I really do.
I think at best it's a director who's going, okay, this is a bit silly, a full-on action film, so if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it full-on and like just completely sell it.
At the end of the film, the big fight, it descends into Godzilla kaiju stuff with two like massive dinosaurs battling, which again is just like so like absurd and over the top, but like funny in of its own. But then they just start.
So why is it funny in this but not in Jurassic Park 3?
But then, as if that wasn't funny enough, the way it's staged, like Godzilla and so on, with them smashing into buildings, you start throwing in extra dinosaurs, and you've got like 5 dinosaurs on top of each other, and then there's the running gag of that big thing jumping out of the water and eating stuff, right? Comedy rule of 3. You've had one where it's doing the Sea World like show. You've had 2 where it eats that British woman, and then out of fucking nowhere, it jumps out of the water and eats everything. And it's like, comedy rule of 3, hilarious, hat trick, boom. Because it's so absurd.
None of those things are funny, though.
It is, because it's so fucking ridiculous. It's like, what, you've got 2 dinosaurs fighting, chuck some raptors on it. Look, there's like 10 dinosaurs rolling around in a pile of dinosaurs. This is so stupid. Oh my god, this dinosaur's just jumping out of the water that I didn't even realise was there. And eating it's stupid. It's so stupid. They know what they're doing. Seriously, I'm convinced that Colin Trevorrow.
I agree. It's stupid, but stupid well within the realms of Hollywood blockbuster. And we have to go big. We have to go spectacle. Last film we had 2 dinosaurs fighting. Now we have to have 5 dinosaurs fighting.
Stupid thing that really annoyed me was after that battle when like the T-Rex and the raptor look at each other and they're both just like. Yeah. And there's like a moment of like respect between the two of them. It's the only time in I think this film that it becomes a little bit too anthropomorphized, other than the Indominus Rex, where you can sort of make excuses for that.
Yeah.
What we haven't really talked about are the effects in Jurassic World. Obviously things have moved on considerably. CGI is now hot shit, and it looks really great. It's pretty seamless, isn't it? It's amazing.
Looks
stuff,
fantastic.
Really. A lot of motion capture stuff apparently as well, with actors
really?
sort of being animalistic.
Interesting. I know that they didn't have many actual animatronics in this one. I think that the Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus, whatever it is, the dying big long-necked dinosaur that Bryce Dallas Howard has a character moment with, that is a model. Yeah. I think they said that they want to do more for the next one.
Okay. I think the scene with the raptor's head in like a little thing so they can kind of stroke it is that was a puppet, right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. But that makes sense. It's kind of something you can do relatively simply. You don't have to move it too much. You don't have to make it walk or anything.
And then I think it's a slightly different era of technology as well, when they will have the animatronic, but then they will also put visual effects on top of it. So like it might be an animatronic raptor head, but the eyes will be CG, or there'll be some kind of enhancement, which is very seamless and good.
Yeah, I do. I like the effects. I don't know. It feels a little bit soulless. I always feel like that the practical effects has a bit more life or something. I don't know what it is, but obviously it's always getting better. CGI stuff.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, it's not got quite the same charm, but it's done to a very, very high standard. I think you get the impression they knew that they were going to be very closely scrutinized, because Jurassic Park is always the benchmark for CGI, and like King Kong, for example, the Peter Jackson remake got very heavily criticised for having such ropey looking CGI dinosaurs, and people were saying that they don't even look as good as Jurassic Park from 10 years ago. And
although I must say, I don't think I will ever watch this film and go, oh my god, they have completely raised the bar and changed the game in effects, whereas that's what Jurassic Park did.
This is more like when you go from VHS to DVD or DVD to Blu-ray, and the first time you look at the new thing, you're like, "What? Is that it?" And then you try going back to an old one, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't even. What is it? How did we watch this?"
I never really noticed any difference. I don't think I've got much else to say about Jurassic World.
I just think it's good fun, Jurassic World. I think it's solid fun.
Yes, I agree.
I am gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
Fucking hell! What? Jesus Christ, Calvin.
I think it's great.
He's satirizing the rating system.
I really love this film. There are points in it when I was watching it where I was like, God, I might actually like this more than the first one.
All right, now we're getting silly. Come on, this is...
Yeah, you're being deliberately...
Well, what are you two going to say? Sol, you've been very complimentary of it, this whole discussion.
I think it's solid, good fun. I give it a 7. Senior 7.
7?
Yeah, I give it a solid 7.
And that's quite a generous 7, because there are serious flaws with the characters and writing and...
But structurally it works as an action film, and the effects are cool, it looks really good.
So now they're making Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Well, this is because the thing with Jurassic World is it was let's just rehash the first film unashamedly and just do a good job of it, and they got away with it for the most part. But now you can't do that again, so they've got to come up with something interesting.
It's Jurassic World in the city, isn't it?
Is it actually?
Well,
it seemed definitely the trailer as that's what it. There's things in the city.
There's definitely a dinosaur escapes and goes into like a little girl's bedroom by the looks of it,
I've
or
seen
something.
That.
And
I'm hoping that's going to be a dream sequence. I think it's a fake out.
But is that that's it? That could either be a dream sequence or like is that definitely on the mainland rather than like
it's where the workers live on the island.
well,
that's it. It could be some kind of quarters that they live in.
I'm pretty sure it's civilization. It looks kind of like The Lost World again. It's like they need to go back to the island I think they need to try and move the dinosaurs off of it. There was one funny...
There's a volcano.
Yes, a volcano.
There's a volcano on the island, and so they have to get the dinosaurs off or they're all gonna die. Which is presumably some sort of thing like, oh look, it's a mass extinction event, and humans are gonna have to save it. I'm presuming there's some sort of satire element to that.
Okay. Anyway, I'm quite excited for it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time getting too excited, really. The trailers have all left me very cold.
Yeah, they haven't inspired me particularly. Feels like they're giving a lot away in the trailers as well. Like we see the twist that it's not that they're going in there to save the dinosaurs, but then it's not saving the dinosaurs. They're selling them at some sort of auction and they're using them as weapons or whatever. So like that's all in the trailer.
But Jeff Goldblum's back, so that's going to be fun. Hopefully,
Jeff Goldblum's going to be in a courtroom scene for like 45 seconds. Let's not get carried away.
Oh, does he not go to the island?
Come on.
Isn't he in the trailer in one of those balls?
Yeah, he's in the trailer in a courtroom.
Yeah,
no, isn't he in the trailer in one of those big balls? Or have I just...
No. He's in a courtroom. I think he said himself his role's really just a cameo, and he wasn't even sure if he'll be kept in the film.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. So, Sol, what's your idea? You said you hinted that we should remember something that I forgot. Something about the first film that you bring back. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson. Right.
Yeah, so let's get him in there.
Oh yeah, so you're bringing Samuel L. Jackson back with one arm.
If we're bringing characters back, you know what I think they should do, really? I think they should just really lean into how stupid this can get. Just go balls to the wall. Die Hard's in a similar place right now. No one knows what's going on with that. So John McClane's dispatched to the island to stop terrorists that are taking over the dinosaurs. Christoph Waltz plays like Hans Gruber's son. Yeah.
I would like to see the raptors in a proper modern war scenario. In fact, like after the Jurassic World came out,
helmets on
after Jurassic World came out, I would have put good money on the next Jurassic film being called Jurassic War. I was like so certain that it was going to be that, and it was going to be like set in the Middle East or something, and raptors. And
yeah, it would be good too.
All that kind of stuff.
But the Russians have got T-Rex fighters.
Oh.
So,
and
arms
and
race,
I think we bring back the human dinosaur hybrids from the earlier drafts. Bring back the weaponized, like they've got guns on their head raptors. Chris Pratt's like riding raptors.
A raptor with a gun on its head is definitely what we want.
Yeah. Chris Pratt's like got a saddle on a raptor that he rides around, the biggest raptor like Yoshi.
I like the idea, of the human dinosaur thing, because I want to see Samuel L. Jackson with the Velociraptor arm.
Oh my god! Yeah! He injects himself with like lizard DNA because they're regenerative regenerative powers, and
They're nothing to do with lizards. They're like birds.
you're right. They use frog DNA, don't they? Amphibian DNA to fill in the blanks, not lizards. Yeah.
I did like in Jurassic World when BD Wong's character like owned up to that. It's like what you're seeing isn't really a dinosaur. It's just an interpretation of we're just creating what the
See,
audience expects.
that's your meta bit.
Well, that's it. I think we should have a realistic dinosaur in this one with feathers, T-Rex with feathers, and they're like, what the fuck is that? We should have a scene where
it's only 18 inches big.
Yes, a scene where Mr. Wong comes in and he says, "Look, I've been working on this for a while. This is a really accurate interpretation of a dinosaur," and they laugh him out of the room, and he goes and he cries because they all think his dinosaur's shit. And the T-Rex with feathers is crying as well. It's just getting bullied.
Oh, that can be our story about learning to embrace
The ugly duckling
people's differences.
dinosaur.
But at the end, it sprouts wings that are it flaps its arms and it can actually fly a little bit. And that's the big, amazing T-Rex showing up at the end moment that these films like to have, is when the T-Rex learns it can actually fly to help save the day. Because T-Rexes are good, we've established. T-Rex is good, Raptor's bad.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see a T-Rex eat another person in these films. I think that's the line has been drawn.
They're like big dogs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, you know what? We have Chris Pratt riding on the back of the feathered T-Rex. They become best mates. They go into war to save the new
children
dinosaur. The children why are the kids there though?
They've been adopted by a dinosaur.
Yeah. And
new movie star Judy Greer has
oh yeah, I get her in there.
Just gone nuts because of her divorce or something, and
we're assembling a crack team of people to go in and rescue the kids. So it's Judy Greer as their mother, because she'll be able to go, this is the boy's sock. I recognise it. We're on the right track. So that's why she's there. Chris Pratt's there to keep the dinosaurs under control and so on, because they've got about 5 raptors with them and a big feathered T-Rex. And Samuel L. Jackson's there because he's got a raptor arm that's grown up, like a big dinosaur arm. So he's at one with the dinosaurs in a way where he can kind of sense where they are. So he's kind of we've got to head west, and his dinosaur arm points in the direction.
Is this like a 72-year-old Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
Are we youthing him up?
No, it's just old man Jackson. It's fine.
It's just old, and he's been kept in a freezer in BD Wong's lab for 25 years.
Yeah.
Can we get Dennis Nedry back? I'm a big fan of Dennis Nedry.
Yes.
Because we never actually see him die. He just gets sort of molested in a car. Like a 1950s prom night.
I'm surprised they didn't just have a fat skeleton in the background of Jurassic World in that scene.
Fat skeleton.
Can we just ignore all the films and make it a sequel to Jurassic Park?
Oh yeah, let's do that. That's popular these days. That's let's just do that. We'll just make what it should have been. The dinosaurs go straight to the city. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, everyone's back, but we'll use some de-aging CGI on that.
The helicopter lands in San Diego, or whatever, and there's a velociraptor just hanging onto the bottom. It just drops off at the last minute,
like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear.
He's got his belt buckled to the thing.
Yeah, amazing.
But there are flying dinosaurs, aren't there? So
they've never quite made it to the mainland, or we've never seen them make it to the mainland, despite them being out there.
That was another idea for the fourth one that got developed quite heavily. Was obviously the end of the third one set up the idea that those pterodactyls were going to fly to the mainland, and for a while, the fourth film was going to be about dinosaurs making it to the coast of some nearby country.
In the books, they do it in Costa Rica. They stow away on the boat somehow and get to Costa Rica. Could set the whole thing in Costa Rica. They'll probably do a good tax break filming in them. Oh, the whole thing is sponsored by the Costa Rica Tourism Board.
I think we should have another island. Pepsi have an island because we have Pepsi saws in Jurassic World. So let's have lean into that. Pepsi have bought an island. They're developing actual Pepsi saws, and they're I don't know. They're dinosaurs with drink dispensers in their head or something. Just like it's this whole marketing thing. They go, or like they secrete Pepsi or something. But they're like really deadly. Something's gone wrong because they're like so highly caffeinated that they're like just hyperactive and like can jump really high and stuff. So that's we've got a load of Pepsi saws. Let's say it is on the mainland, actually, like in Costa Rica or somewhere, just near to the island. So they're getting free, and so they have to send in our squad team of like dinosaur experts. So leave the kids out of it.
Oh yeah, you know whenever you have an army film and they're going into like foreign land, they always have a local who's like an interpreter slash, like inside information. So they've got like a velociraptor on the team who's just like because he can track. He's a tracker.
But all he can say is Alan, and they have to like I am Groot, and they have to interpret all of his Alan. Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris Pratt, team of raptors to like so he's the translator. The raptors are like the locals, helping out. Samuel L. Jackson with like a robot arm or a dinosaur arm or something.
Fat skeleton.
Jeff Goldblum, Fat Skeleton. That's a good team.
Laura Dern.
Let them fuck it. Put Sam Neill in there as well. Put them all in.
Yeah.
Could we get Richard Attenborough back?
He is. He's like had his consciousness uploaded into a computer, so they've got like a kind of iPad with his face on it that like tells them what to do and stuff, talks to them when they need help.
Can't we have John Hammond's brain in a Pachyosaurus or whatever, another dinosaur?
Yes.
So he's just wandering around, and they've given him vocal cords.
I think, I think that we should put him in a pterodactyl. I think that seems like it'd suit him more, a winged one.
Yeah, he could be like the advanced scout.
Yeah. Okay, right. So let's say Chris Pratt's Dino Wrangler. We've got like one raptor, one T-Rex, and Richard Hammond's not Richard Hammond.
Richard Hammond. That'd be a very different film.
Richard Attenborough's brain in a pterodactyl. They're the three dinosaurs. Chris Pratt. I guess Bryce Dallas Howard can be there for some reason.
No, she's crap.
We need a woman on the team. It's sexist.
Laura Dern.
Julianne Moore.
Yes, Julianne Moore. Bring her back. Give her something to do. Brilliant. Yeah, spot on. It's great. Whole thing's like a heist movie, like Ocean's 11, but with dinosaurs.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Heist movie with dinosaurs. That's it. That's the pitch. Do you need any more?
Just throw a load of mad shit at the screen and it'll work. Jurassic World was nonsense enough, So, just really embrace it. Cool.
Right.